Karibu sana mwanchumo ligiria ase umurobiriga w'Egeikaro kya Getembe ase ritwe ligaria Jumapili obutuko 15 na rimo Jumapili ya gatatu yobotinyiga okabere Egeikaro kya Getembe ase studio tukigosanga nabageni bana ase studio Dennis Orioki HSC umurari kurwa sorongorega rogusi abego Sam Miyenda kurwa segeta sene kya Getembe FM kurigeria sabari yo mheshimiwa Raila Odinga yogochia koria obonyakerogo bwe kyombegeri kya AUC obwega tomwerio tuko riegora sanya tukobaga kwerusia senchira ya mobose ndina bwo tukorigeria bono obura iboge siasa sense ya Kenya ngakibogo chikoba kero mheshimiwa Raila arache koirana na boiko umuraibwense ya Kenya kubwatana na kwago ngakira chikoba go chibose sangana into wetera se number ito sibera se screen ya gogagwa na boiga se mitandao Facebook Getembe FM, YouTube Getembe TV abego bali bago tubwatira kurwa se chinga tubwatira ne kurbono oika omwerio nganchira bono toso se enkwana ito na boigo mbariganie abageni bane ase studio kurutoka katika nte Jumapili area naboigo Dennis Orioki tarengega na nte Jumapili area turachaka nere toigwe nkwana yae atumanyenga kyaga ndrele wekira boni karibuni sana tuchake na murari Dennis
Biamono sana murari ya Clinton biamono ase Egeikaro wiki lina lengo na what commitment ibere sato lakini biamono ase okumerana ndo abada commitment yo make sure mwaka oliro wacha ono a lot of consultations behind the scenes and we thank God we are around and now that Baba has gone all the way to AUC the results area so kire she's now water under the bridge tigato ligereria yale mutu
karibu sana Sam
nenche tigangira neringa byamono singencho yo koba amahinto sirit korea rero wa there on Sunday lakini naende tuachira senchira ya kaberega turaranga ngakia mwana gendeteso karibu sana nchensa muyenda 001
karibu sana mwancho murigeria hoyo minto harano toto nyengiri tanyari tukoba kawo ikirana asengencho we condole with the family by the way asengencho ya mateae na nya tukoba kago siria mwancho oyo ma se ya mateae higo mwancho murigeria harano toto nyengiri tanyari tukoba kago ikirana kurende nuare nagembete kubwatira umurobiriga kurwandonsi asare engora ito ya bene kurwa somurobiryo bwe Egeikaro kya Getembe gochia sore harano toto ne amate kabega basani chinga kechiga chobo kendo tikatuchaka ya mase mulioka naye Dennis tunongelelea leo kuhusu ukarimu wa baba's resilience kurwa chagete sabariga wikira boniga ase anya tukobaga kwerusia seresiga rituko rigoro how has the journey been so far for Baba
biamono moralia se libaga naende neli swali elio the journey has not been smooth all the way it has been bumpy a lot of things have happened in Agayama Baba Emiaka was an issue at 80 people were like mwako yo quite a number of people were indicating Emiaka yo mwaka needs to rest lenda chimboli gose chonga chiaye whatever na batu korona bantu bande and that was the initial message yalenge over time gakogenda nende komachikarokananga this was the president's agenda akarokananga asukumena na President William Ruto for the agenda ya 2027 but over time a message yaberega yakogenda then onyole Kenyans for Djibouti candidate Kenyan Zimba sogata sana there were posters here all over ekamachikorokananga Baba abwata intano gose within the country abwata opposition ni endorose wana isikali but over time lende bune campaign ya chiete towards Friday you could see some Kenyans people from opposition you could see people from the mountain, Rigi, former deputy president, Akarokana. You know, there was a lot of motivation behind against Baba. I don't know. But in Barua Sevalibale, more support because Sevalibale endorsements. So you could see a cross section of leaders, Akarokana change and align themselves towards Baba candidature in AUC. So then the ekamachikoroka na bono towards the tail end ya majirikoba a little bit smooth. Na mahali rende tokarana na bajumbe banzile kwe mobilize. I listened some clip. There were some members from Mandera county government. Bai mogetie basi bakaganda all the way to Addis Ababa kogenda kuhudhuria. We had a number of members of parliament na baroba kagenda. You could see the mood towards the end on Saturday Very few Kenyans were TV. Some of them were glued on TV. On the Sabbath day, they went to church. So then Omoikanoro Jete Mujo Kanota como support, but from the word go Karokananga Hado Bantu Maramo on for obvious reasons. In Tobia very big Coca-Cola, and the felting about Rigijiga, Rigijan supporters in Majet Koranga, supporters, members of parliament, Raila Nova, Garata, was Wikiro, Karokananga, about into the Tomonora, Tomo Common. Gen Z felt like Baba owed them something. Baba Nata, Kairia, Bakuaner, and Gerara, Bakuaner, and Abatevi, and Regimo Kora. I feel like this is the right time to go on Baba. Some of them circulated posters, Chico support the other candidate. So then it has not been easy. I saw Raila today, some meeting here. He was at pains to explaining Tarenge candidate, ye president, which is himself. It was a calling go South Africa, because he has been there. So then the Rokananga, it was somebody else's idea. So it has not been easy. It has been so difficult. It was so difficult. At one point, I know, Raila felt like so the journey has not been so smooth. And the results, yes, all the rounds, the other candidate dropped. He felt like scales in tilted towards his favor. But Bigasinya, then he had to say, again, hence the resilience, whatever.
So some living around the historical background, your contest, whichever seat, as much more Baba, Onya Sensia Kenyorate, Mirimarangesan, the historical background aside. How has Baba been fighting this? Is fighting spirit here? Pakabunaje to Kurusia say Egeikaro.
Actually, it has been a journey. I think in the last year. When the Bunayarenge, what to up one believe, the journey has not been easy for him, but I and of course, the support maybe that he required from the president. And at some point, the corona reaction, there are those who celebrated for good. Now in Kenya, because maybe we feel like you are the strongest opposition. People say like that. It's good. It's about the blood of Gen Z. Gento kende ngelikibono kerinarochi abantu mbabwate hisia mingi kuna wale walifeel vibaya na kuna wale walifeel vizuri but on their own with their own reasons. So journey ya Raila Odinga teraba very easy and Ruto Temre como push Davadi has been there in and out of the countries kumriri supposed tukaigunga there were some 28 countries here como support but chikura nyuranga it's what we call secret ballot. You are not assured unless that's when you can be sure so the jana ijakuwa rahisi lakini at 80 but let me tell you at 80 you can for real be sure and the support that you got from the president at least alijaribu sana.
Thank you. Tigatuja so Dennis for the factors ingi kiagerete ndoto tigata oko lose rende asengencha voluntarily
oko win lose
sengencha iruseti takanyiti resi ikomo hilo. What do you think are some of the factors asengenje chinyinge tigatucha keko kwandra sero manyine tutaracha bali bali ngeko support ya campaign team yaye. Men have talked about the age factor abange ba kwandra about the diplomacy ya kiroko compare ne oyo bari kwambira nera senje bagato metodio Djibouti obere foreign affairs minister na diplomacy for over 30 years experience. What do you think factors kichagerete as an individual Baba ta convince the heads of states?
In Tombi bere ko sabita to one when se kolgeria mood yarenge towards I think it was around Wednesday towards Wednesday. It was almost clear again the Babu Mukiri. Baka regional economic bloc Koroku Sadak Bakamwa Kolika executive director was the secretary general ya Sadak Kalika an encouragement letter convincing 16 member states to support a candidate from that region who happens to be from eastern region. That one also tilted some bit of scales, but looking at the numbers, people felt, before the election, people felt Raila had done a lot more. I think it was the southern part of Africa for quite some time, for a week. South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, he was there. He camped at those sites. He was into Botswana, Akabuto Sana. And from the results and the reception, you could tell So looking at those last minute declarations, pressure that from the southern region to try to support our candidate from Madagascar also somehow contributed towards the dropping of the candidate from Madagascar, because they dropped. Actually, some of us expected the 16 member states from SADC were to vote their candidate, Randranato from Madagascar, almost immediately. But the results came 10 and one was a member abstain. So Karochi at the 10, Babo Tangan with the 20, then people were like, Kumbe the 16 didn't go to these other candidates wholeheartedly. Then the other gentleman from Djibouti, we expected Abu Baba more edge out because the numbers were almost to his favor. Looking at even the social media, the numbers, the support he was getting from social media and across board, those numbers were like Omontora Tangana no Djibouti. Then around 2, and Baba commenta vote or 2, Kure commenta. Then by the dropping of these other gentlemen, we felt like now the southern part, unfortunately, divided. Attention is divided between Djibouti guy and Raila Odinga. Looking at those matrix, there were now factors here and play around. People were like, from Madagascar dropped out. To his favor, I got dropped. The numbers were like Anglophones were many, but a few, I want to believe a few, maybe South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia must have voted Baba this other side, and the others, the Muslim speaking, the French, the Francophone countries must have voted the Djibouti guy. Those were now the factors. At that time, at that situation, they decided one or between you know, let's look at what are the factors that will bring us together. In Kikere common between these two. So if this guy was dropping, so somehow they were caught in between. Go support the Djibouti guy and Raila. Then factors came out. Motora Ikere rising. Then of course perhaps the young presidents and heads of government
what are the majority?
Who appear to be majority, somehow they felt like they may not resonate well with Baba at 80. They must have decided to go with the youngster.
Titocha sore sam na ora kwandra factors kicha singenjo mwako yotare sana around the 50 something plus countries kwani kiango ikirana. What factors kiagere tenga ta convince ti at least this 33 member states are konyora anyoro bugui.
So number one, if you look at Raila Odinga, number one in Tenda Akwana, is an Pan-Africanist, like no Mondo. Of course, apart from the guy from Djibouti, Mohamed Gotwara, and the experience he occupied foreign minister, Raila Odinga has been a Pan-Africanist. Like, he has a regional, the connection Africa-wise. Remember now, Saveti in the capacity of infrastructure, as an infrastructure envoy, and then you can tell there's a time in 2011 we had chaos in Cote d'Ivoire, Ouattara and Gbagbo. He was the one who was sent or broke that deal and was someone Benoche, though it failed. So that can tell you Baba Africa wise Watch connection. He has been invited in various inauguration celebrations, Chiabo, South Africa and wherever. So what we call Africa connection. So lakini kero ukumuligereria the SADC region, Karabade Klianga, they're supporting the Madagascar guy, meaning that it was the determinant. You were deciding who will be the leader. Kero mongwano ya drop, then this was chikure chiwana chiara kwa mwanga whose favor will it be. Buna Dennis Akwana, wono iga okonyoranga, we had 3 factors. Number 1, we have the Islamic speaking countries. We have the Arabic countries that speak Arab, the Arabic language, and then the French. Even the Mutuyetu, this syndrome is much as here in Kenya, but narrow in in Africa wise. So who can we reach first? No, let's vote our own. So the Islamic factor, the Arabic factor, and the Francophone factor,
of which Yusuf Mohammed speaks both of them fluently.
Anaongea vizuri sana. Waona ikavanga nere, let's go on their favor. Ikamononga again tonkero lazima kebe distinguishing factor.
Baba's win was short-lived because he won twice, and some of us started suffering the consequences. You go lose, and he has been suffering all through. You are right. There were factors. You know, we speak same language. You know, at times, you understand.
You understand.
There's a language, the foreign language, mono. But if we go local, you can bear me witness. Even in Tanzania and Mozambique and parts of Congo, Kenyans easily communicate in Swahili and never nyore understanding here kwangu. Lazima wewe umetoka Kenya. Egeikaro iweke Swahili yoko kwana na bago umondonga yako. Equally those other sides, in as much as a language again straight, there are other commonalities bawe kabatu waraba ma deciding ahambo wanga ketora communicate. Then ko konyo the age factor, badanga jamen kaiga na botora Mwako yoko molan, and at that old age, abagambale bona bale rigid. You know, to konyara komobuna kuna kunota get. Youngsters, you can say.
To finish it, kwanyara Dennis Akwandre, morito wikera wanga. You see. So ga kwa mnyakonyaranga, the Sadiq part of it. Everybody Sadiq, of course, they had their member who they are supporting, but at the end of the day, still the region, the religion comes in. Now the Islamic and the language they speak. Then again, tokende kwa rekoligere area asense media. It's maybe we can talk about the issue of age now. The age factor, of course, it was part of my script. The age factor, Neroya played a part because at 8, what if the health and something like that in future? So what can you do? So a picturing about to support one of our own. And again, let me tell you, from East Africa, Baba didn't get the support. You can tell that because Abanda from the East Africa. So you are not sure whether the East African part of us, we are the ones who are looking for the votes. Djibouti is part of us. Kenya is part of us. So you are not sure whether from the 12 countries that we have from the East Africa, whether that basket, the
SADC countries. Then mention as of Wednesday, they were some of them are declared support which also Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, but the last minute. Na kiliana go affect the voting outcome. Was it out of the conflict DRC? Was it out of the stand TNC Kenya? So was on Sorumo Chando. You remember South Africa Kongusananere na Burundi on the issue ya DRC. Do you think it affected the Chinese SADC chika amwa support Randemandrato?
Yeah, they affected, and that was the defining now. I think that was the defining region that could have brought maybe Tonyorengumu. It's all about interest. Nabarambabu interest chabo. We are neither supporting the Djibouti guy or the Kenyan guy. To support the Madagascar guy. Wana kerawanya oranga maybe hu jamaa ta konyara kobaga wekera chikura chiri. Now they shifted their attention now with interest. Na inda wana ngai kubwatinga ki Kenya. You remember that our president, Dr. William Ruto, near the chair of the East African community. Are you seeing? So in one way, like they had their own interest, maybe in terms of the crisis, and Rwanda and DRC. The all African countries, we want you to tell us who are you supporting between Rwanda and Uganda, and DRC. you know, people will take sides. Those who never sided, maybe with our own Raila Odinga, maybe they felt like that effect of DRC, something to do with it, because our own president is the chair of East Africa.
There's something people have missed, the deputy chair position. Somehow we must have lost it, because if you look at it, what was the position of Kenya on the position of deputy vice chair or deputy chair of the commission? Normally, Getembe Karochikura Chiko Gande Chikuma Jikohanda Bune coalition. In as much as Kiareko Ganda northern side of Africa, what was the Baba and the team that was campaigning for Baba's opinion? Because somehow we must have lost some chunk of votes from that side. Although there were several candidates, but somehow our team ought to have worked it out. Bamanyanga ingole a preferred candidate. Na barobe aligning there just in case. Even Tobi Gosinya, Olina deliver some votes. I know.
Yeah, sure.
The outgoing chair, Mosafaki. Ruto must have taken advantage. Akamoreta some votes from the Central Africa region. Chichiama Chetiko comment plate ya Baba. But on the side of the deputy, because it also has some implication, somehow the Djibouti guy must have taken advantage. Because in Onyoru, Algeria, I tend to believe there was some give and take. Wherever the Kalobi Chikurachiri, so there were other factors before you even decide Gosok.
To add on what Muhesha said, HSC, H what?
That's it. Go ahead.
I want to be sure. In Yoranga, part of the presidents, in Yoranga Navarambage, the Chikura,
yes,
someone got unanimously, I think. Is it the president of
Joao Lorenzo, the president of Angola?
Yeah. So again, it also played. If this region took this one, then who are your preferred candidates from the other side? So there were many factors that led to Baba to lose, and that one is part of the lose anyway.
To Chaka so Dennis, one of the factor the campaign team specifically Umraiwensia Kenya almost William Ruto. Do you think Sang in Chabanga Babere Bakoma Mochanga also affected Chikurechika in terms of foreign policy? Yoko handle the African issues, specifically what is going on in Semo DRC?
No, really. I think Ruto played it so well with the DRC case, up to the level he decided to bring out, to get the SADC opinion. If Ruto was, let me use it, careless, he ought to have made a decision, being the East African EAC chair, he ought to have made a decision that Congo is in trouble, or he could have made a reckless statement, which he didn't. Looking at how he was able to push the agenda and have the joint meetings, I think he played it so well. However, there was some theories coming out that he called Macron from France. I mean, I don't see much attention, because he also called the president of South Africa, which if the Kagame decided to use it as an excuse that he has shared with his enemy, the South African president, that could have worked against the candidature of Raila Odinga. So somehow people are trying to bring out a lot of excuses. I saw the kingdom of Sahrawi, it also came out, but all right. Those factors, lakini not quite. We Catholic no neji kura raidanya olete 20 kaichi aguete. Kartoko tebo maenenga ejirende kaichi aguete, because yara kobanga Kenya tianchiri na Raila na abwate challenge ya na Ruto na support base ya nyorete. Then in Tuareg ikachikura na iko menaisa 15 votes, because rende yare koroka nange erebobe sada kiengima na part of EAC yoke yare go deciding because Ruto as the chair you've decided kogana negenteke wa take reside wa decide binto bibere bitato ono no ani East Africa ndo bwachikura then you go sada chikura chiri 16 na baroba make decision inga na hechito ikonyora we could have gotten it a backlash in a country Raila couldn't have made it more than 10 votes so I don't see much of it but from the look of the way things are francophone speaking countries and the Muslim have always decided which is a factor to affect here.
And as you speak as abananchi aba Kenya specifically abaraiba bachete Addis gari Ethiopia do you think ogosherekea kulikuwa hapo even before the election took place andake ngwa senate message asenge njomete Kenya is perceived yangere kwa so dominant and many issues as ngoro Africa do you think walisherekea mapema na ndio picture ite chetu kwa bangi yago cha se abaraiba asenge njo to the deadline support ya baba was so many countries but kere unfortunately abaraiba bado tekego over 100 shereka aligani wa the pre-party yao sherekea ushindi ambao hujakuja bado
so again don't tebe as just as you've said and karokuligeri Kenya nese bwata chinguru it's considered one of the African countries bwata chinguru and I felt like the presidents of these African countries thought like onye talk this power they will be more powerful. So bakaranga again to at least no kuba rusi power. And I want to tell you Djibouti as yabere getango sana Kenya kerotoko and that's every Africa. You will find out that when Amina was vying for this seat Djibouti again was ilikuwa the cause part of the cause of our problems that we are having now Djibouti yabeire geko to fight and finally they won. Let me say they won. So for me I saw that William Ruto iga chetamo mono kubwa Raila himself was a candidate kwa sababu akagenda kulikichikura na he was there and he was lobbying for chivote chichomugako Raila Odinga. The same mistake I felt that Raila Uhuru did with Amina Mohammed. Again, take an African state like you are AUC chair, you go point to neutral. Ono ekaranga ne project ya William Ruto that he had interest in the entire Africa such that akarokana mono was so hardworking looking for this seat to a point like these African countries thought they saw William Ruto more than maybe Raila Odinga, apart from maybe the age factor and whatever. So in that case, aka lose support. But getting 20, it means that Mbabu ate 22. The highest he got was 22. Actually, the first round, the second round, the loss of Mzee, we felt like now it's survival.
Do you think Abarai, porque toko Rusi mheshimiwa Raila na mheshimiwa Ruto, Abarai sense ya Kenya hyped this thing too much, especially online the comment posts ekarokanange ngeke already imeenda before hata kura zenyewe ilikuwa ni adhabu wase they went out of their way.
There were factors in our child, yeah. There was a Palestinian president who was there. Then there was a lot of Ukraine and Russia war also must have played
because Ruto supported Israel openly.
Ruto was on the other side. For the Muslim speaking countries, somehow they must have decided because of that factor. I think that one can come out. As far as our leaders celebrating is concerned and other things, you cannot believe it. Even Djibouti had a delegation after the win of Ali Yusuf. They had their own party, they had celebrations. All these things were happening. No country that wasn't interested in Konyora. They had their own way of celebrating. They have also hyped this. They have gone for the seat. The Djibouti guy has also been able to move most of these countries. Actually, it was from the northern side again. He came to some countries in East Africa. No, I never kura.
Recently,
it's neither here nor there. There was some corner Perhaps another story totama the version totama nyetenga. There were some Kenyans who were at a bus. Baba bunage kuwa nali. Wakaimukie bus, wakagenda all the way on the road, all the way to Addis Ababa. That's another story totama nyete. Number 2, leaders. Bunoma nyete. You are party leader. Egeikaro, and this is politics. We caught a makuya in Nairobi very close, just in case a win ya chile arokana na over counted on the win. You know, if you lose, you are an orphan. The chances are you will be abandoned. There are very many people call the versions nyinge ngomanyete again the Kenyan zi harenge issue again take baba buna so join it na Ruto again take buna busito ta to minister, all those factors. Yes, make sense in sir lakini not at use. I think at the summit level those are presidents but I call linga inki mojumbe go se senate korogara nyamwa tuiti go sabeka ye change all these votes.
Because if Raila Odinga needed the support, you see, he got the support because the president alimpigia kura.
You know, at that level, you umere president of a country. Well, you must have a blessings, president, president. You must demobilize diplomatic staff from that country. If we have an embassy in Gambia or wherever, Malawi, we can ever mobilize, and that was the support Raila was talking about. He got logistic support. I listened to Ruto when he was speaking yesterday. Then he said, when he was making calls and booking appointments for Baba, Baba was there. If it was in the morning, you know, you could be given a president Egeikaro 2-3 hours. If Raila is ready, I'm giving you 2-3 hours by 10 in order, or early in the morning. Let's meet before 8. That was critical, and Baba was ready. It tells you everything possible was done. Including all these other factors, kando na binto binde, go blog na binto binde, all those things, somehow they were neutralized with the bloggers, bababu ate na bantu bande. If they managed to rigiji endorsements, some leaders from the mountain were blogging and other things. I mean, baka change perception towards the end. However, bande bale basaletie umusolina baro, kuna wakili wa ometuku, na burukanetia ali akatag president, ba sadak akababurukani. It's normal. It's politics. There are winners and losers.
Tigatura agenda se media ye studio akatura tegerra umumanyibwa magana iga age siasa John Ondigi korwa se bungeria bonchari oibogo orenge part of the delegation varenga sense media Addis Ababa Ethiopia kubwateria hobokoro bega sense metanga because ntwakwana nere senjira yesimi abo mapema kurende nere nabo birengere byae kubwatekana nari ane kiwa usari ne kiwe so far wekira oko Russia se ekeroge kiga yugo chago chorwa tomotegere boni gatnyara ko batoko iwachinkwana cha John Ondigi uyoromo manyibwa mangana igage siasa nera tumanye asensema yakubwatekana nari Dennis Orioki nabo gosamya ndaba kwandire gaiga erebuno montore nga sensemeria Addis nara ria aya negative nabono goikiro kwerusia kwaye baba ninki kyanya tukobage kone kiwa goika okwerusia kwaye John Ondigi
minto mwanyagetinge semwabeta abere mukubwatia ekeminano kiaba kyokolikiya bonyakero gwa African Union Commission aiga Addis Ababa Ethiopia ebirengeri byane golo yokubwa kwa Raila Odinga niko bikobwatiga Raila Odinga taguyiri chikula chiringe senge nchara Raila Odinga niko chikula chiri twabwetu kuna Kenya asengi sababu isato chinane amangana itawa ime ya Kenya amangana isoko ya Kenya ne campaign team ya Raila asa amangana ime ya Kenya siasa ya Kenya ase umweshimiwa Ruto president itu arorekana niga atagite kusokera ira arume ya Kenya ndatigale bwiye kase siasa egente kinki arorekana ase abare ba Africa ingano kyalenge gento kigotaka export e problem ya Kenya yani nga atigale bweka oyo gento yakabere amangana ya mandamana ya basai ba genzi ayiba ari kwandamana singenje amangana ya matatizo ya kiuchumi ose obukobora bw'ikigasi n'ikibesa asembuko yaba Kenya abo asirira kitego yasokia na wesoya na kubanga nero leto mulembe gwitira so gutuma abantu baye bagasosa serikali bagarosinde group broad best yani bagatwara handshake egente ekyo ngero kantenga nkebwateti magani ya Kenya au bara Afrika igendikia ba president ba kirigeria na ase ndukende bono amangana ya abductions inesa wenda sana unatoka kwa naiga omo murogoro kwa ama musa unatoka kwa naiga Kiza Besije niga bwatukuru Kenya boniga chandekita sibire Buganda ase ale asokwengata gutaragira obeiro mureu na ando chandekira mono ali omuntu niga opposition leader ya Buganda eyire mu Africa na bono Raila tanya kwanda kindi ura mwana iyo Maria Sarungi uri Tanzania bwatu na yarabo igo abantu lukuru wa chinsi cya Uturuki babwatu ngenjeyo ekyungi hato saretiye a chance asa chinsa mukya kurusiko ya Kenya yani external factors ese yatokea ya DRC ase abantu bakuru 23 bako bwatarisiwamo na serikali ya Rwanda baitira abantu ase bakora guitira abasigari 13 bakuru South Africa bagaita abandi batatu ku Malawi abale ense kembekeli ku SADC kisi South Africa igendo linkia gacha ekiombekeli ya SADC ekagera bakataka wakira umuntu lia Richard Andrea Mandarato chikura lakini balenga cyo wakira Raila Odinga so ngiye akora kasi wiki ya etaiga nkia leta mangana mangira ndengencho mu president ito William Ruto aisoetiga tina uja wakira aba Faransa Kisii ngawakire Macron marwake America ngaiwa mangana atikire ga Africa abwase chi president nyinge kimne chikuru asinze kwana Faransa chitata gite mangana Ufaransa batole mu cyaro mu ngizi ya West Africa iko baro chinga bono iko Ruto wele musani bwo mu bisa bwa Africa ikinkia leta na riya shida gabo na ndege ndukende chi comment chi president akoleta igoro ya isegi ya Israel na Palestina asa tebangera go support ya Israeli lakini chinsi chiabu Arabu chonsi yipi echi go support wa Palestina igo monto yo kurwa yo Muhammad igo mu Islam chinsi chikaranga ni galibya chikura toka seri ngenje yo to just a campaign team ya Raila nigo yabwate abantu abana siasa busa mbabwate abantu barabana diplomacia wono rojo muntu buna bono makao mtua egazi ano kulika mwana siasa oka na wasomya mwana ichiko tana ukora mwana diplomacia toko chawo musika buna kulukungane Pauline Njoroge tana ukora mwana diplomacia eba achole tuko cholukulia bona banta bade wa Israel bia buna bono en campaign ya Raila ekomo chora buna nigale Simba ya Afrika ekibona se abarayi bali bandebe kinse abu president ekikomo chikorango nigate to tuetania ekyo kero kikasari wone campaign team ne messaging bako kora njale nge messaging yale nge kuonekana chi president chi mobo gatesie eyango yakora ni ga atobwe ekaro kana umuntu lyo mo minister yaga Mahmud eltabu ate siasa ngamune igale kalotega bintu byabo kiru ngora abantu bakarongo na eketi ikikagera karo aganjo mono igo chisabu kinyi kya gatatu kavu na bono ga Ethiopia ba Kenya bachitiga iga bange ingo balenga wakekerere bakotera chipara weta abagabona yentekyo abana diplomacia bali chi president chikaronga bona ine tabia mbeto gwate ikagera mbato wakura aso kan kya manga ngare na bata kiri kuwini yentekiga lakini bono lende na ya beta bono ndo maitinga nigo akabwate kesikebe osi yaga mbo mwaka murade to ntomanyeti lakini to bana wa Kenya twarusie chance na the next time tonole chance bune yiga ne myaka 50 wechibosio ekwera chance imwe yajite yiga inyuranga abantu ba West Africa bagambire kabere abantu wa Central Africa bagambire kabere wetara se ya Jinping abono yo Chad Faki abantu wa South Africa bagambire wetara se Mugazuma na gambite nere bona yachiri East Africa next time eko kenda North Africa emyakene and no se West Africa emyakene Central Africa emyakene South Africa emyakene ema East Africa ego East Africa tali Kenya iranye era soke candidate abira Tanzania Uganda Rwanda inzende yangu East Africa iko Kenya turaje kunyo chance ntoma itindi ene ndu kyalenge kido akonyora lakini singe njoko tamana siasa idome ya Kenya utatuara awasamia uyasa mwana diplomacia na international relations tuwasalie chance
Bemono Jona Ondigi kurwase umuchi wa Addis Ababa ensi ya Ethiopia manyu mangana ya siasa boigo berga kubwatirya mirobirige imonyara kubaga kurwa enkwana yayega gukorengana na alianya tukobaga kwane kyanto cyusanganira nande hase ensemeriga yo guchikorigera rende sabari umweshimu arena kago chikora nanka nimirobiri cyago cya kwenekya ko nyara kubaga kwane kibuno mwategerga gwine enkwana ya Jona tigato cyake na Dennis Bono abara imbasa bona bega bana inchi ubamwe umweshimu ababe reception yingi yasengencho korengana barabuta faileti na atemete uika umwerio but what do you think kago chikora na sense ya Kenya inkiego chigo twist bose inkiego chigo change asoburai bwage siasa
biamono Clinton maybe a comment here say yo minto jona is among ase bali ba so etiembe kare statement ya rwete Sadak got a Sadak, it was a secret card ya lengo yoko declare gentleman ya Madagascar yaburukanye bintu. I remember John agakolike mitandao ngere nteke baba nkomuburukanikere batokosire sana chikura 16 cyachire so and somehow he got prepared inga bintu mbiri buya gochumutua. And of course commentary yamanya ko irana what next in reception ya baba we had a challenge with incorporating Uhuru in the campaign. Tindo Uhuru, being the immediate former president, he must have had a friend or two in this Africa, maybe a president or a head of government, are incorporated on board. It was never incorporated or whatever that happened. Somehow he must have had a role positively. No, incorporated truly. Then he must have contributed negatively. Abantu ngote abalende online ngana kanete kabegete litaputi ga wonjo kana Addis Ababa. Tima etinezi kurale ko liko se tiare ko sira. Timanyeti some have accused him he must have played the game either to get Baba votes or to deny him. Tima they through that is but my thinking nearly are incorporated as a part of the campaign. Tindamor officially because formally going to Zimbabwe. So then the fears. He has a friend ara Keresimi, president former ara Keresimi by Chikura Baba because Habakani Bamwa. Back to Kenya, Mbuyae, Baba Tiga we reception ingia. Aleko manyo reception inga yeka aleko ika. It is nere Egeikaro mwana temire omo and they call it position 1 and they position 2 maybe a time where I get position 1 and they position 2 bado still mwana no you congratulate him or how next time temanga sokonya nerebia baba needs that reception to mo welcome we kanata betanga ekanaro chibi ikire leve ye ata betanga ya bona na bongo tiga tindeta stalemate ko chimutu chikura chitene ne chigenda for a year igorende teikoro kinga africanism imeane nero senebe real ogo takwa back. I think a lot of things will happen tobuata impending radical surgery ra korwe in the government
broad-based
more likely heads with heads must roll somehow. Some PSs will be affected, some restructuring nature in the government. A lot will happen so that ondoro kanetenga na vegete poboko oyo igetanya na baba campaign na bara aligereri bwe sema moinden na siasa bono wike bangwe statement na tegarate marago bali otegare message ruta kwanete our baba was capable, was worthy the position. Nenchera Raila responded to Agatebanga, Ruto ongeire all the support, necessary support.
State machinery yote.
Ongeire system. Whatever na nyore wikirabo, it is Ruto, attributed to Ruto. So whatever that means, politically meaning, these guys are likely to work together. Back to our region. We may get it a little bit tricky on your endorsement ya Raila now that Ruto Oroka ka mobuate de kurmoina. I saw it it means a lot.
Now they leave the presidential car.
To politicians, that one means a lot to your supporters on the ground. Looking at the teams online, somehow people have appeared to be like Mbalebabu at reservations on Ruto, lakini abande baanzire go soften their stance. Baanzire koligere ring, lakini Ruto yo was he genuine? Honorende in as much as what I'm wanted before elections, after post now elections here AUC, people are now trying to reconsider candidate go say support towards Ruto moving forward.
2027. Tukatocha sole sam effect yetu kada senge njome the ODM leadership saire interim we have issues huko ngusana na gaiga Sifuna hapa Nyangi Nyongo his side and what issues about the broad based government as a bunge nkwaro chali milio diambata we need to have a broad based government esa yao tanero bro dakinto best baba ko na sense ya Kenya upre poke siasa ngaki ko chiko bana bego kubwatira na igatia serikali igayo bomo
na gotebetia na kuchika uko na ritangani aba Kenya mbaro bago gete for Raila Odinga to be back to Kenya taringe singe njoba tata getagwe isinge njoba bamonarete asisiasa cha Kenya era aborete naro okoranga ubukendo mboro bogotoka so they were like no I'm saying you are because we need you at home so just for good for good so I think none structure chama ODM kero magaka sugeta ki go babe gite interim go bono then interim still chama ODM nero na na bara ya ko bomorai and again it will affect bari banyara ko baba komo wate siase rogendo roiga casualties ngo cha chire chirocho because we have a broad based government so Ruto at some point he will reconsider como accommodate como accommodate relationship watu wale kurwa ngakieri yokoliye kero mpaka bono so siasa nani nechigo twist in another way bono to gocha ga se region yomugusi then now kero torengera tinga na induto and beyond magochibosio kama maybe kurige murai kubuense kurwa ensema yeto then it also has fears kwa sababu we expected maybe as he was preparing to exit the Kenyan politics maybe we could have had a kingpin more specifically from Busirende umuntu na atwariri bakariri yokoira that role of opposition maybe before we go to another election so ni bwate casualties cha na bwate options he may decide to run for presidency if it is lakini bona igana barabe kingmaker we say because na bwate bado influence igon tunkageretenga kairende Kenya in some few days coming from whatever we had the president what he said and what he responded it means singer they are still back together igona botora atware ana manga kwa kana siasa ne nyinge na barabo ganie bitalie binge imeabunge imea whatever so politics I think now will have a new picture one umzes back we need to see some few days toranga chama ya ODM the heads ng bago change will we still have the interim go say ndotu an ODM leader
na kwa tuatocha sore Dennis nya kwa tokonyora enkwana agon the same asengencho bono baba kago cha emirimo yaye wabantu nabange bamuganete because as narigeria sense me mitandao mo konyo murayibwenso mukoro omusikeriga digashagwa enyora okumbara atwara obwa matebu yakurumayaga kaiga in fact blamed mheshimiwa Raila sokurusiwa kwae asekerogo but now he is embracing him agotabanga you are the hope in Chutubwaterane we make the nation work well. Do you think the sincerity in mheshimiwa Gashagwa uyoberega kulobi recently bacho kubwaterana no mheshimiwa Raila to achieve like into kediba tabanga liberation
ngota abare Clinton inga any laws have attributed to where your friends were at a time of in need where was Rigathi Gachagua in terms of support ya Raila up until last minute aliapia tekarokananga na ale for baba but look at the key supporters ba Rigathi Gachagua they were chanting slogans chingao against the Baba so Baba's team now the team on the ground including intelligence state and others they will also be able to evaluate that quite a number of things happened looking at opinion and comments or the mountain you could tell Baba is not wanted as a people were against him it happened to some sections in Gusii you could tell I mean including the leadership you understand Momoima the Kisii senator was breathing hot and cold you couldn't exactly tell is he supporting Baba or is not where is he looking at the political chaganet between Matiang'i and whoever goes about 2027. But I can tell you, we'll be able to, as a region, we can to an uphill task. Raila may decide to keep quiet. Chikure, Chichiga, and Lembaka 27. People will have to strive for endorsement for a photo. Lakini yana bana batenga bano lende kimu antigire. There was a time na batagete Tina Rogers mu abet. So whatever the team ya babe go kuwa na bono, you can easily get a message ya Raila. So it is not something kere taken lightly, and I know that is where Ruto and his team banked on supporting Baba because they know there is payback time. Perhaps I did write something. Did Ruto gain out of the loss of Baba? Definitely, there were some hearts, there were some souls Ruto must have won. There were some souls Ruto must have lost. But ultimately, there were some people felt like, Ruto Majirikoba a little bit honest and genuine. Rather than Aleko Motiga, I mean Yokali and Dokia Yokawe, there are some votes awiniga. So it will be tricky. Abando Wakobolio president 2027. And given that Baba may not vie, they'll be able to look for him for endorsement, especially this western side, parts of northeastern and eastern coast region, and of course Luo Nyanza. I'm going to see it for some sections.
Part of Rift Valley and other numbers. So again, don't I think for me, from the start, and even before the elections, for me, whether Raila was winning or losing, Ruto must have a credit. The Dr. President William Ruto now what a credit. The support he gave Honorable Raila Odinga at I don't know how honest he was, but there are some souls who are frustrated. Maybe Banare Ruto, who is a winner. You know, from the history we can tell Ruto has never lost. True. And the people have been saying like Ruto has never lost. To a point like they were assured. I think the excitement Choko win Raila must have come from the fact that Ruto has never lost. But a number of people got we believe in Ruto from the hard work in Chirako making him to be how strategic he is. So people got to our expectations to a point like frustrated. You know, when you put your expectations, what follows is frustration. At some point, at some point. Again, remember this. Raila, at this point, William Ruto. AUC. Lakini Ruto will benefit more than even Raila Odinga himself. Sababu, if it is something to go about, if it is payback time that I supported you, then it's not only the support ya Raila it is through the numbers on the table, and we know politics is what you bring on the table. So for me, I feel William Ruto, whether Raila was to win, whether he was going to lose just as he has lost, a credit still William Ruto na wate credit na wate still na bako enda in the Luo Nyanza wate gaki. Don't you see moronji na temete lakini odds inchibete bia but we lost.
There was a story here. You did run a story, and there was a team from Gusii Raila Tigache Gusii a support Matiang'i. A good question Raila handlers will ask, where was Matiang'i Karababa use? You know, it will be a factor. It will be a factor. Nawara modinai nonye access, nawara modinai entry to Baba's meeting. You know, this politics is all about interest.
Naginarigo chango boria senge nchobono because abange babere bagote abanga baba ira nyokoboko about support Mheshimiwa Matiang'i. That group was there. We've run the story bomberanari especially Mheshimiwa Nyaribunata benge kiame kabwa takora sai aetwe no Mheshimiwa Matiang'i nande chinga kichiwe kango kebwato kare ko chase Mheshimiwa Matiang'i. What do you think kurwa sense megabuno mugusi how will we benefit asenge nchontwaro cho Mheshimiwa Simbarati aria sense moya Addis Ababa at the same time to abere toko go chingwana cha cho segeta the candidate cha yo Mheshimiwa Matiang'i eyenga yego to beka situation una into mugusi because Baba is coming back, so we believe Baba bari support ODM and Baba ngoso abara se Baba these same leaders na obagwa kereko ko presidency Mheshimiwa Matiang'i nga yego to teka buno mugusi.
True. Nonye Mogabana Simba, I think he must have made last minute strategic appearance at Addis. Perhaps there was some level of pressure because on Friday there were delegations, there were governors. I saw Governor Bungoma,
Somad was there.
Abswamad, I saw Kisumu Governor. Conspicuously, a deputy party leader of ODM was missing day one, maybe on Friday, then on Saturday, late in the evening, to the party. I don't know, maybe it was earlier, perhaps we could have seen those signals mapema. And now that he has been because now it's all about Kolobi. I need to be counted. I saw when Chui House here DAP office. I saw Momoima represent Matiangi. Where was Momoima and the Busi delegation represent Matiangi if the factor then again there's a tricky factor. Matiang comes from Nyanza region. Baba seems to be on his peripheral stage, Yoko Rua Siasa. So then somehow somebody needs to come out and occupy that space. Omonto will come very close if you want to get support Bahaba. Goikora Rokananga no more inherit, then you'll be very close. I think we missed an opportunity. Yoko Egeikaro Goralia, na into Tonyore, whatever the spoils, I expected Governor Simba to be very close, right from on Friday, Arokaneno Hari. Angana role ko imukirito kabisa ate benga yeye naoneke musike kwa no disaba balia in his mind karengara tinga na anje wishes ya mati yango sukumaga. Same applies to Momoima. Nobody ole como Italia, but again looking at the way he was playing a little bit lukewarm, Tayo Naro, it could have been a good basis. Yoko bargaining apaba na intundu wachete lirikuwa yoko boli chikura disababa tu wachete toka kwa ikanga no wanye nkende gia takire toru breakfast antu waruete toma yako baru wewe tuyare enkwana yawe mwere because of time ase dakika memo na bwo tuchikonyora enkwana yaye John Ondigi ase dakika AM kurwa sense meri hadis tuchake na esa mtu asangira mange na mstakabali ni hupi gochibosio asegesa kukimo gusina bwegensi ya Kenya now Baba is coming back.
No, now that Baba is coming back ntoramanya okay, we are just waiting. Kurende kendonana tabankiringa goikerabono iga. Actually, you have made a very sensitive thing like one of my Matiangi. Where was it? Where was he when I was struggling? You know, and if paying back like. We need a payback from Raila Odinga. Even now, William Ruto needs a payback. Because he has done it. No.
Thank you.
So he has done it. So who is he going to pay? Is it Matiang from here who never showed up when he needed the support? We say maybe William Ruto oyorengenere akagenda disa mpaka akamwakere kura. So what I can say rende much as politics, but I think Kurbona ka 2027 realignments is takuja onyonko mwenyene, you know, we never saw him. Was he there?
All is not lost. All is not lost. We still have an homecoming, kind of. So Onyonka, who is the governor Nyamira, Nyaribo, and more members of parliament from Gozi region. Onabaga Kabege Saku, Nawagwapia. Whether it is airport, Bamota and Garabamota, Bana, Tua Sabera, some of us who are busy, we didn't get an opportunity. Ero Canere ended that. Resounding welcome. It will not be easy to support Matiangi. No Egeikaro kana no airport, no Egeikaro kana ba very close. That neighborhoodness Egeikaro kana nehero beyond Egeikaro biokanga ndoramonai. So then the Baba an opportunity to explore those avenues.
Osoro was there?
He wasn't there. Osoro no Osoro talango.
Mwancho mwegeria tugatora nyore nkwana ya mwerio ya John Ondigi kurwa sensemeri ya Addis Ababa Ethiopia igoro ya mstakabali hupia segesa kwekega kimo gusigo chibosio. Now that Baba is coming back tokora na tunyana ko batokora na gusigo ko murubiri Egeikaro aseri tukerika
ingongo ya Kenya bano chibosio tigatubwatira na ndo chibosio ona siasa ya Kenya omugako yokabwirwe genteke igana hande bone miaka ya gengikanira hake miaka 80 tari bona jo kuri Egeikaro Kenya Jones intuye toko sabanga bona tu amwatiza ODM ya ikiro mwerio kitokanye tu nkingi ba batotebyo batotetia mangana atokonye bune kiombe kyo mugusi gose egesa kyo mugusi entobwate abale baso kuri gusi entobwate mo mwishimwa Matiangi oyina ande buna narenge ga nkona gukwana kwa nwale gaiga no nyime ya ODM na ngokwanwale komugako yaratebe ngaya tokonya omuro matiangi no tokobe maya yaye ni tokonya bichubose tutonyole ngento gukora lakini tochiko banga tokugwatesia paka bono gatwachite gaiga ogure na ande bono ntubwati ngindi chichwaro chibosio tuligete ngatonyole Dr. Fred Matiangi nera bwatesi kunere na uru bambwatesie abaikoyo na bale barambwatesi ne yabe kende nto mokusito tukwaneke ainara maoni anembate kurugaiga na way forward oyino nkeni jono ndieki kuru Addis Ababa Ethiopia.
Mancho murigeria narayo kurwase umurobiri gabwe Egeikaro ase Jumapili iga ya gatatu yo mutinyo go kabere twasangire amange na bogombya mona se bali bayira chinga gichabo gotorigeria kurwase nsemeria ya online ase GTV ase chinka chonsi. Thank you so much as always ase okoba part of this. Thank you so much Sam Miyenda umurari kurwase Getaseni kya Getembe FM. Dennis Orioki head of state commendation HSC umurari kurwase rongore urusi. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Aboigo omumanyibwa magana igage siasa John Ondigi kurwase mochwa this in Syria ya Ethiopia buna deni sate ba now it's time tote bijona na erache seti gaiga inde tunyara ko batugo sanga ebirengererio on the same na boigo bari bane kyaiga ngobo chara senchire ngia to kubakira mbya muno tuskaru mancho murigeria ikuraga chinsa inye asemese kyonga chinsa inye tuchi gusanga amange nchenkoro kwa Clinton Ondigi twara burigerio bi
ekyonga kyamamugusi
eduka ya obomo ya All Superstores Limited nero eduka echolide